team, shout out to Steve Train. Jump on the Steve Train. We about to give you game. REI's flowing through my veins. And you don't have to look no further. See right here, you gon' learn everything. Shout out to Steve Train. Jump on the Steve Train. We real estate disruptors. Yeah, see we real estate disruptors. Can't nobody touch us.
Hey everybody, thank you for joining us for today's episode of Real Estate Disruptors. This is our second episode today, and we've got Ty Taylor, aka The Flip Man, coming in from Birmingham, Alabama. And we're going to talk about how he's created multiple millionaires and multiple six-figure earners, which I think is pretty cool. I was saying, on the post before, we got my show, we've got Max Maxwell, we've got, Sean Terry, but here's someone that's been doing it even longer, which if you can imagine it. So if this is your first time tuning in, I am Steve Trang, founder of the Offer Fast Homes app, the only MLS for off-market wholesale properties. And I help entrepreneurs create businesses that support their family, lifestyle, and goals through mentorship. I'm on a mission to create 100 millionaires. If you want to join us on that journey, please drop me a message on Instagram at steve.trang. If you're excited for today's show, please give me a wave, give me a thumbs up. And as a friendly reminder, I don't charge a dime for the show. I don't make any money doing this. So here's all I ask. This is what it costs for you to listen to this show. If you get value today, please tell a friend. Either share this episode right now, tag a friend below, or tell them your best takeaway from the show later on. That way we can all grow together. And this is a live show, so please ask your questions for Ty to answer. You ready?
Ready to rock.
All right, so first question is, what got you into real estate?
I'm going to try to give you the Cliff Notes version. I'm an entrepreneur first, and a friend of mine back in 2002, October of 2002, his wife and his girlfriend, now wife, were going to school to become real estate agents. And the guy that normally taught the class was absent, and the substitute that replaced him that particular night talked about creative ways of doing real estate with no money down. The guy's name was Don Williams. He's passed on now. But so my friend, knowing how I am, he mentioned it to me, just in passing more so. And I didn't act on it at that time. Fast forward to Christmas, December 27th, to be an exact couple of days after Christmas. I was at my mom's house waiting for her to prepare breakfast, my favorite biscuits and syrup. And
Biscuits and syrup?
Yeah, maple syrup. And I was watching Carlton Sheets. I caught one of his no money down infomercials halfway through the program, and I had seen it over the years, and you're like, yeah, right, because everybody, Carlton helped me make this much money. But how did Carlton help you make the money? So I went up the dial and caught one from the beginning to end, same thing basically. And so I thought to myself at the end of it, he can't be lying about all of this, right? Yeah. So my mom didn't have internet at that time, and so when I got back to Birmingham, I posted a question on this entrepreneur message board. Does Carlton Sheets program really work? And only one person replied.
What year was this?
This was 2002. Yeah,
just crazy to just think about. And I don't want to interrupt your story. I graduated high school in '98, and I was one of the leading edge people with internet, with dial-up in 1998. So it's just so interesting to put in a perspective when you started this.
Yeah. The internet, man, wow. That's why we're here. Yeah. So, one person replied, and I wish I could find that individual. Yeah. I wish I could, because it changed my life financially. He said, yes, it does, but Ron LeGrand's course is better. So I did a search on Google for, I don't know if it might have been Yahoo, whichever one was.
Whatever was around there.
Yeah, so that's how far it's back. People there was no Google?
It's Alta Vista or a web crawler or something.
Yeah, AOL. Mm-hmm. His course was $1,500, but it was a package of courses. It was wholesaling, lease options, subject to, fix and flip or retailing as he called it, owner financing. And so at that time, I was only probably making about $2,100 a month into my job, which is not bad for Birmingham, Alabama. I'm talking bring home pay, but it still would have been a sacrifice. And so I said, well, I'm gonna have to get a second job to save the money for that or whatever. So I thought about eBay a couple of days later, and I did a search on eBay, and his course was for sale. That exact package was on an auction. I lost the auction, and back then, sellers could reach out to people that bid it through email and I know eBay soon corrected that, and they asked me, did I want a copy of the courses? And so we agreed on $400, which still was a sacrifice for me, and I bought that course for $400. And it took me about 3 weeks to go through all of it. But what stuck to me was wholesaling, somewhat lease options, and and the other thing was bandit signs. So I purchased 250 bandit signs I purchased 50 bandit signs for $250, which was a gross overpayment. But I didn't know any better at the time. Put them out on I picked them up on a Friday, put them out on a Sunday morning, and the very first 2 calls I received were deals. One of them was a lease option deal that blew up in my face. Lady gave me $5,000. They ended up having to give me the money back. And the second one was a wholesale deal where I made $2,500. So basically within 30 days, I made my first $2,500, and the rest is history. That was in early March of 2003.
So the $400 was worth it.
Oh my God. I can't even put it. And Ron, if I ever meet Ron LeGrand, I owe him $1,500. Literally, I would probably.
We're past the statute of limitations.
Yeah,
We're not the way about stuff.
Yeah, I know.
So it's funny, right? Like you look at back then, you put a few bandit signs, and 2 deals came from it.
Yeah.
Like I remark from time to time, like I was doing pay-per-click in 2012.
Oh.
Right, and it was just me and Sean Terry, and it was $12 a lead.
Yeah.
High quality, little to low competition.
Yeah.
So wouldn't it be great if you could just put out 3 bandit signs?
Yeah.
and get leads?
Well, you said that about pay-per-click. I was in before that.
Yeah.
I was getting them at like $1 a lead.
No.
Yes. And I stopped doing it. I thought it was too much. Just imagine that. I was getting so many leads, and I thought that was too much. And I should have been able to retire just from Google AdWords.
Yeah.
Because it was so cheap for real estate terms. Or would I sell my house fast, buy my house fast?
Damn.
Just an idiot.
When were you doing that?
I started in 2003. I probably had a site up and doing ads whenever they first started. So whatever that was for Google, I don't know.
Because they had all those. Google was like 2004, 2005, and they had all those yellow things on the side.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you were there already.
I was one of those, yeah.
Man,
yeah.
So if you could just go back to just 2004, Ty, where would you be?
Oh my God! At $1 a click, and the money you could make, it didn't click in my. Man, that's too much. Yeah. you were good with $12. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So man, a time machine would be just. You can't put a price on it.
So you were putting out bandit signs. You closed the deal. You got $2,500 from your first deal in your first 30 days.
Yes.
And then what happened after that?
Well, that probably had to happen for me because I had failed at so many other business opportunities. Pretty much everything I tried before. And so I was, just to go back a little bit more, just to give you an idea, I was in college and I had the great idea I was going to take some of my student loan money and start a used car dealership, and got my hat handed to me because you need to be mechanically inclined when you go out to these auto auctions because they will make a 10-year-old car look brand new, but it will be a total piece of junk or whatever. So, but the point being is that after that first deal, now that was March of 2003, I didn't do my next deal until June of 2003, so almost 3 months. Well, 3 months did elapse.
Yeah.
And the girl I really wasn't doing anything. I was just so riding high on that $2,500. And the girl I was dating at the time, she was like, I know I don't know as much as you know about it, but don't you think you need to do another one? So the next deal I did was I made $5,000 on it. I found a deal and a bird dog referred the cash buyer to me, and that $1,000 fee I paid to that bird dog may have turned into $100,000 with that guy just in the next couple of years or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So because he bought a lot of properties from it had gotten to the point where if he didn't want the deal, I didn't think it was a good deal, and I had to sort of break ranks with him because he just had his parameters on what he thought was a good deal, and you just can't go by because people buy at different levels or whatever in different areas and such on. So
you're doing deals. So like, at the end of your first year, you did like how many deals?
I don't know how many deals. I can't remember. I can just tell you, I was only making say about $45,000 a year. I think I did about $60,000 in deals that first year.
So your first year, you've proven to yourself, this is better than your job.
Yeah, but I still didn't quit.
You didn't quit.
I was afraid because I left out part of the story because I didn't want to get long-winded, but I guess I got to explain that. Is that let me see, what year is that? Okay, so in 2001, I had a friend of mine who used to sell pre-arrangements at a funeral home, at a cemetery. And if you don't know what a pre-arrangement is, you go out and pick out your casket, the plot where you're going to be buried, the cemetery, obviously. You just plan it out, so you don't leave that burden on your family. Okay, the first year my friend was out there, he started in March of whatever year that was, and to the end he made $110,000. The next year he made $106,000. And so, it seemed like he had all the freedom in the world because it was 100% commission. And he said, Ty, even if you don't only do half of what I do, you can still match your current salary, blah, blah, blah. Now, I just knew him from college and he just ran his mouth a lot. I didn't know that most people are like that. They are good at convincing people in what they believe, and that's all a good salesman is, is that he would go into and I should have went on an appointment with him before I quit. Because, again, I just knew him as my clown friend that I used to gamble with in the dorms. He would go into these people's home and he would make them feel stupid if they didn't do what he said. Not in the sense he was intimidating them. It's like, why would you put your family through that when you can take care of it now at today's prices versus 20 years from now, they may have to pay triple, which is true. That's real with that business. But it's still, you're selling a casket to a living person. That's a very hard sale.
It's tough.
So anyway, when I got out there, February of 2001 till July of 2001, I did a grand total of $7,000 in sales before taxes. Before taxes.
So was it?
I nearly starved to death.
Was he telling the truth? He
Yes.
was making $100,000.
Oh yeah, he was getting a check. The way they used to pay us every Friday, the manager of the facility, he would pass out checks. It was straight commission. So if you didn't do anything that week, you didn't get a check. He's constantly getting checks for $1,800, $2,200, $2,500. Some weeks $4,000, and I'm getting zero.
So you were uncomfortable with the selling style.
Yeah, I couldn't sell. I can't sell. This is not the selling style. I can't sell. This is not the selling style. I can't sell. Yeah. And so I quit there, and so I quit my job at Bell South, the job I was making the 45 at, and everybody thought I was crazy, and they were right. And so, long story short, when 9/11 I had already quit at the cemetery. When 9/11 happened, it was at 9/11/2001. I was laying in my bed feeling sorry for myself, and I was watching the news, and they said, "Oh my God, a plane just went through one of the World Towers." And then, they were showing it when the second one went in, and you knew it wasn't an accident. And I thought to myself, I said, I don't really have any problems. I'm sitting here feeling sorry for myself, blah, blah, blah. So I got a job at Singular Wireless, which was a arm of, it was the wireless arm of Bell South at the time. But that we did exactly the same thing, but the income was half of what I was accustomed to. But it still was better than zero because I was unemployed. So that was in October of 2001. So in June of 2002, I got my job back at Bell South. All right, now this is before real estate. So the reason why I had to explain all of that is that the reason I didn't quit, even though I had already duplicated, exceeded my salary the first year, I was afraid to quit. Because even though I was getting the checks in my hand, I was afraid to quit because, how bad financially I had gotten, during that time that I quit before. Plus, managers spoke up for me to get the job back because of the job in high demand. And I felt like I was, turning my back. I owed them something. So I stuck around. So I started wholesaling and basically January, if you want to count today, I got my first check. But March of 2003, I just couldn't do it anymore. I was just getting in, because I had already seeded $100,000 at that point, and the job was getting in the way. So I quit May 1st of 2006. I dropped the mic on the job. So basically how that went, I went in one day, I just left a closing and came in and I probably picked up a check for $7,000, and somebody said something crazy to me, one of my supervisors, and I called up to the clerk's day. I don't feel very well. And I reported out for the next 2 weeks, and we were closed on Sundays. And I went up there, I took a resignation letter and put it on the clerk's desk and on my immediate supervisor desk that I was quitting because I didn't want them to call me and all that stuff. And so it was official for May 1st, 2006.
So I want to hit on something here. You feel like you were not a good salesperson then. Do you feel that differently today?
I understand what my weaknesses are. Okay. And I'm much more engaging than I used to be out of just need and networking. That's one of the reasons why I'm here now. I wouldn't have done this 3 years ago.
Yeah,
I wouldn't have done this 3 years ago.
So the reason I want to bring up this point is because going back to it was cheaper for pay-per-click
oh my God,
many years ago.
I remember.
But it wasn't just cheaper. It was easier. It's like, Ty, your house is worth $200,000. I can give you $130,000.
Yeah.
What do you want to do?
Yeah.
That was the conversation. There was no pain. There wasn't no like, man, what's going to happen? You can't sell.
Yeah.
It wasn't a hard close. It was just like, look, here's the contract. Like, you sign it or don't sign it. I don't care. I got other appointments.
Exactly.
It was a lot easier.
You're right. Not only was it easier in that aspect, financing was so easy. For I don't care what type of neighborhood in the D as in dog neighborhood, I guess you want to say, quote unquote, the hood, people they were buying first time homes in those neighborhoods. They do it now, but they were really doing it then.
Yeah.
Most of those neighborhoods now are just rental income neighborhoods, but back then, man, it was. Oh my God, it was so easy. So on top of the cheap advertising with Google, it was easier to move deals. I know it seems like that way now, but it still wasn't as easy as it was pre-2000, late 2007. It was so easy to move deals.
Oh, I mean, up to 2006, I wasn't even in the business then, but I gotta imagine it was nothing. It was nothing.
Oh yeah, I say you could get a ham sandwich financed back then, literally. Have you ever seen the movie The Big Short?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, yeah.
You see how they had went in and saw the strippers, and she was telling them how she was doing, no doc loans or whatever. Yeah. She had like 6 houses, so ridiculous. Yeah, that movie gives you a real idea of how easy real estate was back then. It was only because of the subprime lending market, and once that exploded or went away, my buyers just overnight went away because they would buy a property and refi basically within 2 weeks and get all of their money back with profit, at 80%. Yep. It was just so easy, whatever. So, but anyway, guys are doing that, they don't know that.
So you must have then, since you started before the recession, there must have been some challenges.
Understatement. I was a young man, a lot younger man than I am now. That was the most money I had made in my life by far. All I knew is I was making more money every year. And I got crushed. I had got into flipping. That's one of the reasons why I don't flip now. right?
Flip man.
Yeah. Well, wholesaling is a form of flipping. But I got crushed. I had 7 houses that I was paying hard money loans on, right? Mm-hmm. And so when I knew that it was changing, I didn't know it, but I can tell you the moment, looking back, when it changed, we were at a closing, and I was about to pick up a check for $13,000, I think. And my guy that had bought a number of deals from me was just on the phone, just making sure he can go ahead and get it refied out. And his main lender told him, say, no, we can't do any deals right now. We're on hold right now. So he called his second, because he was a mortgage broker himself. Mm-hmm. He called his second guy, and they didn't even answer the phone. He called his third option, and they told him they were on hold. He said, Ty, we can't do it. We're in the closing. We can't do this deal right now. I can't get none of my lenders on the phone. I'm like, huh? He said, we're going to probably do it tomorrow or whatever. We're just going to hold off. Like we had sellers, because the way I did most of my stuff, the seller's right here, he's right here, I'm here. Because, he and, so it's no big deal. And so the seller was cool with that, but it basically blew up my face. So that was late 2007 that I realized. Most people say 2008, but when I realized it's from there. And so, I went into doing some lease options, not very well, just to keep a flow, but I was spending the money that I was making. I should have been, like people keep saying, well, a recession is coming, or the real estate market is about to crash again. That's fine. You know what that means? There's going to be a lot of underpriced real estate available.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
That's when you're supposed to get filthy rich.
That's when the rich get rich.
Yeah, that's right. So if you're the one that has accumulated enough cash, that's when you really pile it up or whatever. And I wasn't one of those individuals.
Me neither.
I was spending it out. And so, lesson learned. Like I said, I was making an X amount. I was a single man. I was living that way.
Yeah, there's a lesson there, right? Like for a lot of the guys that are, young now, the guys and girls listening to the show, yeah, you can make a lot of money.
Yeah.
But be smart with that money.
Very smart. Very smart. Yeah. Very smart. Yeah. And so I got into the gold business after that. I was still doing a little real estate on the side. But
there was a lot of we buy gold signs.
I was one of those.
You were one of those guys.
Oh, we were doing 30 and 40,000 a week.
Really?
Yes.
Tell me about that business. I mean, that business doesn't make sense today.
And I was on the tail end of it. I wasn't even on the front end. Whether people used to mail in the gold. Those are the guys that really made a lot of money. And then people going around doing gold shows at different hotels in different cities. I was on the tail end of that. Yeah. And I still was doing what we were doing or whatever. But basically, you were buying gold, like jewelry is what we're talking about. Mm-hmm. You're buying jewelry, basically, in most cases, gold and silver, sometimes platinum. And you would buy it. What most people don't understand about jewelry is a depreciating asset. Like you see, I'm not going to bring him up, but you see somebody may have paid this amount of money for a diamond ring or whatever. Mm-hmm. You're an idiot. It's over with. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't ever go back to that jewelry store and get that. It's like buying a car. Yeah. It's worse, actually. It's worse. So we would buy gold. So someone would come in with what we call a herringbone, the thick gold necklaces. Mm-hmm. Number one, it needs to be real first, and we would normally buy it. I'll just say this: if you spent $1,500 on it, we would probably give you maybe $300 on it, and we would go resell it for $600 at a refinery. They will pay us 95% of what the current gold prices are going for. Yeah. It's a formula that you use to get.
You
to
were
that
wholesaling
point.
Gold.
Yeah, basically, but we were actually spending money to buy it though. Yeah, right. So basically, but we would normally.
So you were flipping gold.
Yeah, we would buy it at 50% of what we could get it for, we could get cashed out for. And so, we would ride about an hour away from Birmingham in any direction. There were a couple of people that did it, pay 95, 97% of whatever the market is. And, we would come back with a pile of cash, man. You know what I'm saying?
So you were in a tail end of that, so that died.
Yeah, that died because, for me personally, it died because I tried to expand in markets I shouldn't have. If I would have remained in just the same location and just kept it there, I probably would still have that store open or whatever. But I opened 4 more stores. And
so there's more,
everybody,
other lessons there too.
everyone made money except me. It had gotten to that point. Yeah. Every Friday, I was paying my employees. Everyone was making money except me. So
yeah, and I think that's one of the things that a lot of guys in right now that are doing well, having some success. Now they start scaling.
Yeah,
and scaling is not just a matter like, okay, I'm going to quadruple my business. I'm going to quadruple my money.
That doesn't always mean that.
No, it doesn't. You might quadruple your revenue.
Yeah,
but you're definitely not quadrupling your profits.
Exactly.
Okay, so gold dies. What year for you?
Around probably 2012.
2012.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're talking about earlier, right? Like you started, as far as I can tell, you were the first guy on YouTube. I don't know anyone. Do you know anyone before you on YouTube?
I had never even thought about it in that way. Well, see, I looked at it as like, Carter Sheets and Ron LeGrand, Bill Bronschek. I think that's how to pronounce his name. Bronschek's an attorney.
Okay.
Who else was the other guy? That was a commercial real estate guy. I can't think of his name. Steve something.
Yeah.
I don't remember if they were on YouTube though. So. Someone may can verify that or whatever. So I may have been one of the first. I don't know if I was the first, but
because I've done my own research. I was like, who the hell is Flipman, and why can't I catch him on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
Because like for me, I'm somewhat competitive, so I'm looking at it. We got Max Maxwell, so he was there 6 months before me. He didn't start that much earlier than me, right? So you got Max Maxwell, and then you got Antonio Edwards, who's been doing it longer.
Yeah, he's been out there a long time now.
Yeah.
He's been out there a long time.
You got Brent Daniels, right, who's we just hung out with over lunch.
Yeah, correct.
Right? So it's interesting to see, like, you've been doing this since 2008. You were giving away the game for free before most other people.
Yeah.
And you weren't charging, right? So we mentioned those other names. You got Ron LeGrand, Carlton Sheets, and that third guy. But they were selling courses.
Yeah.
You were giving the game away for free.
Yeah.
Why?
Because they were doing what they were doing. Like when I watched that Carlton, he recently passed, I think, and it said, "Hey, Carlton helped me make this much money." Carlton made me. That's fine. How did you make the money? So my approach was for a couple of reasons. Number one, I want to be different. There's a famous line in this movie, American Gangster, with Denzel Washington, when he's showing his brothers his operation. They're walking up the stairs, and he said, "I have a product that's better than the competition and cheaper than the competition." So better was I really gave real value just from my personal experiences, and it was free. So
why?
So number one, to be different. The next thing is that my vision was and is to have like-minded individuals that I could partner with all over the country, right? And if I help you make money in Dallas, I help you make money in, Houston or Chicago, D.C., New York, whatever, I can reach out to those individuals at any time and say, "Hey, I have this property here. Will you go take a look? What do you think about it? Blah, blah, blah." And we both make money on it.
Yeah.
And so I somewhat put that out there through 5050.deals, not .com, 5050.deals. And I started getting leads in. But I didn't understand, number one, that I wanted to put that much in, and I thought I did. Because most people, and I try to emphasize this in a lot of my videos, what's a great deal or not. And people, that's the hardest thing, because a lot of times people are just so excited someone talk to them about actually selling a house or buying a house or whatever. And so you get a lot of stuff that has no chance of being a deal. But what I should have been doing that entire time, because that's been out there 2 or 3 years, is training those people. Hey, this is where you made the mistake at. Go back and do it like this. That's what Keegley has done with Jamil now. Basically, that's what I wanted to do from the first time I did a video in 2008, but they're actually pulling it off.
Yeah.
I just left their offices. You see what I'm saying?
I wouldn't say that you didn't do it, right? I mean, you did it.
No. I didn't. That was my intent.
Ah.
That was my intent. You know, so that's part of why I'm partnering with him. He's already has the infrastructure up there. Why would I try to duplicate what he's doing? And I don't need all the money. I just need just a little bit.
Yeah,
you know, let them make some. Keekly make some, we all win. So, but that was my intent. So you say, why did I start to put out the free videos? Partly because I wanted to be different than what was already out there at that time. And then also just to have a network of individuals that I've helped feed their families, and hopefully, you know, I can reach out to them if I have a property that I want to, you know, in their area. So
let's talk about that, right? You know, we talked about creating multiple millionaires, multiple six-figure earners. How are you, because I get this question, how are you verifying who's done what?
Well, a lot of times, and I guess if they've taken the time out to do it, it's on them. But man, I get pictures of checks all the time, or whatever. I had one individual, and I lost his number. I don't know why I didn't lock it in my phone. And he was like one of my very first students, like maybe in 09 or 10. And he started in the Washington D.C. area. And he called me just out of the blue one day, man. He said, I was just looking up some videos about it. He said, man, since you taught me the initial thing with wholesale and stuff, said, man, I've made $17 million. No. He said, I live in D.C. now, and, you know, I do most, you know, because the prices of real estate there is similar to here in Los Angeles. You know, he said, that's where I make most of my money right now, or whatever.
17 million.
He said, 17 million. Well, that's over 10 years, but just still nothing to sneeze at. You know, so
yeah, that was pretty good money.
Yeah, so and then my guy out in California, Riverside, which he posts all the time or whatever. Chris the Shark, yeah, he started watching my videos or whatever, and I've been out there to visit him, and he's real.
Oh, he's real. Chris is real.
He's real.
No, you can't say anything bad about Chris.
I've personally been to my homeboy's house. He's real. You know what I'm saying? So, and it's, you know, I have interviews, man. You know, people start, some of them just the first deal. I had a couple out of D.C., they made $70,000 on their first deal, and they left another 100 and I think another 100 on the table in that deal just because that's her heart or whatever. She wanted the lady to make more money. You know, they could have easily made anywhere from between 170 and 190 on that first deal or whatever. And they just watched the videos. Most of my interviews and success stories come from people just watching the videos that never have paid me for any coaching or anything or whatever. And that's natural because the information is free, so you know you're going to have more people take advantage of the free versus the paid or whatever. It's going to reach more people that way. So
I think one of the things I want to hit on, right, is we're doing this because I get that question too, like, why am I doing this, right? But there's a benefit to you. Right? So you want to talk about how it's impacted your life. Like giving this, in fact, Sean Terry, when he was on the show, we talked about it, right? Just giving this all away for free, it makes your life better.
You can't even put a price on it, man. Man, you know, money's not everything, but incidentally, it deals with everything. You know what I'm saying? The things that matter in the sense of shelter, food, you know, the basics. Now, obviously, it doesn't take millions of dollars to feed people or whatever, but whenever you can affect individuals positively, because people can use that energy to do something illegal that can affect plenty of other people negatively, you know. So if I have that opportunity to have changed some people's lives financially that may benefit them throughout generations because they can pass that knowledge down to their kids, grandkids, and so on, man, you can't put a price on that, you know. And being just, you know, not to be racial or anything here, but, you know, as far as my community, just as far as blacks or whatever, we just have to have more of that, man. You know, just, you know, people that know what I'm listening to, we got to have more of uplifting each other and putting things out there positive or whatever. And I know we were talking earlier about not having ads on your YouTube monetization, and I'm probably going to change that listening to Brent or whatever, and because they're going to push you up the thing. But you know, people you'll see millions of views on foolishness. You see what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
And you know, you're putting out this content, and I put out a stream, we get 2,500 views. You know, we're giving out like millions of dollars of information, and you only have 2,500 views.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
When you put it like that,
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It
is.
And Gangnam Style have 1 billion.
I know.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's catchy. It's catchy tune though.
Yeah, it was a good video.
Yeah. Hey, Con, I'm getting feedback from the listeners that the video is frozen. So can you look into that? So I think that's a really good point because are we? Okay. Can we fix the video feed? Huh?
It's just stuck. It's just frozen.
But is it going to be good on the recording's still good?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, so we'll go with audio for now. So going back to what you mentioned earlier, because I think there's so much truth to that. Like I've spent over $250,000, in personal development.
I got you.
Chris, who was here just a moment ago, who's another fan of yours, who watched a lot of your videos, he was in that seat just an hour ago. He spends $100,000 a year in personal development.
Wow.
Right? And we have all these guys who we reach this pillar because we invest in ourselves. And then we come on this show and we give it away for free. And you're right. Why is there only 2,500 reviews?
Yeah.
I think that's a whole nother problem, but it is fascinating to see because there's millions and millions of dollars here.
Yes. I have a better way of explaining it.
Yeah.
And people will reach out to me, and I don't want people to take this the wrong way because I put my phone number out there so I know what comes with it or whatever. But if I refer someone back to a video because of a question that you may have texted or DM me or actually called me, it's not because I'm being rude or I don't have time for you, but you show me you don't even have the time for yourself, to educate yourself because you're asking a question that I've answered over and over again in a number of videos. And I know people want to get right to it because you may be suffering what you may, your situation as far as financially, you want to get to it really fast and make this money. But you got to look at this as a long-term play. If someone wants to be a physician, I think it takes them between 8 to 12 years to be a physician. You mean to and they spend a couple $100,000 to do that, right? You mean to tell me you can't take 3 months out of your life and tackle free information and you can literally make more money than they make?
Yeah.
I don't know another way of putting it. So if you don't have the patience to educate yourself, real estate is not the business for you anyway because it takes patience in real estate.
It takes a lot of grit.
Yes. And so a better way of putting it, educate yourself to give yourself the best chance of succeeding by simply knowing what you're doing.
Right, 100%. And I have this, right, because I talk about the 100 millionaires. And people ask me, like, how do I become one of the millionaires? I tell them there's one of two ways, right? The content we put here, if you just go and do it, you're going to become a millionaire. Like, there's no secrets here.
No secrets.
Only thing I can do, right, if we're coaching together, is we can shorten that from 5 to 7 years to like 2 to 4 years. That's what I can help with, but everything here, what you put out, what I put out, what Max puts out, Sean Terry's putting out, you can make $1 million with free information.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know anything else that's being given like that. I'm sure it is, I don't know, but that's really practical. If I want to be a music producer, somebody may be giving out free information, but I think I may have to have a certain level of talent to be able to create some music someone wants to listen to.
Talking about you being mechanically inclined, that would be me with musically inclined.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay, so you started in 2008, and we were at lunch earlier, and you had mentioned that it's kind of blown up. Right, like in the last about 4 years ago.
Yeah.
So you're putting this out there, and there's nothing. I imagine in the beginning, like not very much is happening. Right? It's that you're planting that seed. When did you actually notice traction on the YouTube?
On YouTube, I think once I got over 10,000 subscribers, and I was probably doing some things. I don't know how many of those are legitimate either, because I was doing some things, what they call it, black hat stuff or whatever. So, but I realized, hey, they're gonna shut you down if you keep doing that. So, because I was always studying stuff, listen to this guy do this or
hacks,
that, or
shortcuts.
They're just shortcuts or whatever. And it's just fortunate for me because I just like doing it. At the end of the day, I really wasn't trying to make real money with it. You know what I'm saying? It just really would only be enough to maybe pay a phone bill, someone else's phone bill or something like that when I say a smartphone or whatever. So it wasn't really that much. Then, like I said, it just jumped at some point to maybe like $2,000 in a month.
Yeah.
And then the next month it was the same thing. Then it may have doubled. And then it didn't go down from that. You know what I'm saying? And
but Gary Vee talks about this, right? Like, you don't see the traction necessarily in the beginning, right? Like, you put that video and, like, maybe, like, your mom watches it.
Yeah.
Right? And you put out, like, 10 more videos and, like, your mom and, like, some of your cousins watch it.
Yeah, exactly.
And then it takes a while to someone's like, hey, this guy knows what he's talking about. How long did that take?
Wow, man. You know what, Steve? I would have to go back and sort of look at some of the numbers on it because, man, it's been 12 years. Yeah. And you have to just realize that I was doing it just because that was my thing. I'm just a really boring person. And you know what I'm saying?
I don't think anyone that watches you thinks that you're boring.
Man, you need to go back to 08, 09. I'm just sitting there. Now, I may sound like I know what I'm talking about or whatever. And I just like doing it. So I can't really tell you why. I can't even, I don't know. That's one of those things. I just do know after listening, like you say, Gary Vee, I'm like, oh, I was doing that, but I didn't know I was doing it. I was just putting out useful stuff or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So I just, like I said, I just noticed it. As far as the money I've generated from it or generate from it, where the bump came in, about 4 years ago.
About 4 years ago. So, I mean, really, like maybe 8 years of just kind of.
Yeah, just teetering, nothing, it's teetering, just strictly a hobby.
Because I bring this up because, like, Gary Vee, everyone knows Gary Vee. Well, most people. Outside of entrepreneurship, people don't know who Gary Vee is. Like, I told my friends, like, hey, I'm going to be sharing a stage with Gary Vee. They're like, who is that? It's like, okay, fine. So entrepreneurs know who Gary Vee is, right?
Yeah.
So, but before Gary Vee was Gary Vee, he was the crazy wine guy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And, like, I have friends tell me, like, dude, you got to check out this crazy wine guy on YouTube.
Yeah.
Right? He's just talking about wine and screaming at the camera.
Yeah.
Right? But that's kind of how he got started.
Yeah.
And so you went through this. So it was no sweat to you that you weren't catching traction because you were doing it for you and nobody else initially.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Exactly.
Because I think, we talked.
When did YouTube start? You remember? The actual year?
I think they got bought around 2004, 2005.
Okay. So I was a little, I wouldn't say I was late to the party in a sense, but as far as real estate, I was one of the early
adopters for sure.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
But I think the point here is important because you look at, Jamil, we just had, again, over lunch.
Yeah.
He's talking about how he still feels uncomfortable making posts on social media. And so a lot of the guys that are listening, they're thinking about, like, should I do it? Should I not do it? Is it too late? Or, what if I put something out there and it flops?
Well, and I'm going to talk to him about it. He's concerned about that part of it. Jamil has so much to offer. He should just do podcasts.
Yeah.
Forget about you don't have to do it all. That's one of the things Gary Vee says.
That's just one channel.
Some people think, they're good at written word or whatever, blogs and, just articles on Facebook, LinkedIn, and all these places. Jamil can just do podcasts. They never have to see him or whatever. And because he's so knowledgeable and his story is so unique and he's, what he is in the game or whatever, he never has to do have a profile on Instagram or anything like that.
Yeah. So let's talk about some of these listeners that are getting into the game.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, they're doing deals. They're doing 2 deals a month, just say hypothetically.
Okay.
And, they've got like 10 friends on Instagram. Mm-hmm. Again, hypothetically, Instagram.
Yeah.
What do you want to tell the guys? Like, look, just do it. Like,
yeah, just chronicle your daily activity. And that's not me coming up with anything original. That's what Gary Vee said. We're going to probably bring him up a lot here and we continue to talk about this.
Yeah.
Just chronicle what you're doing on a day activity. Don't worry about if it sounds stupid or whatever. People are interested, especially if the activities are real. Mm-hmm. Just real, Now, there are different ways of going about it. People love to show what they may have and all that. That's fine. You're going to have that crowd or whatever. Me personally, people want to see that from me. I've had people to ask me stuff like, what kind of car you drive, all that. I can tell you what kind of car I drive, you know what I'm saying? I'm not going to probably show it because I don't like to be nosy. Now I clown around in my little We Buy Houses car, and I need to get 10 on that or whatever. And I've been saying I was going to do it for the last 2 months or whatever because I don't even want them to know, you know, whatever. I just do it, and I hadn't gotten one deal off of it. And I've had it for over a year. I've changed. I had 2 cars and 2 cars with it on there. But it breaks the ice when I show up. I think it makes them feel that I'm dead serious when I show up. Yeah. If it does nothing else. Now I've had people to call on it, it just hadn't produced a deal from the numbers and the website and everything on it. But my point is that I don't. I just try to keep my personal life, which is very boring. Number one, you'll be like. You're not going to be entertained with it anyway or whatever. I just keep it separate because I just want to put out values for us, you know, hey, how can you make money in this business and change your financial situation if that's your goal or whatever. Yeah. So, but the other stuff works too. Because you have a segment of people that attracts them or whatever, gets their attention. Let me just say that or whatever. So I'm not going to
attention grabbers for sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So. Derek's asking about no picture. Yeah, guys, sorry. For some reason, the feed froze. The full video will be available later on YouTube, but right now the video is unfortunately down. So, you know, there's, I would say, there's an undercurrent, or maybe it's a full-blown current, I don't know, of like this anti-guru movement, right?
I've heard it.
And clearly you're not a guru because you and I are talking about some of the crap that we've had to go through.
Oh, yeah. I hate when people even... I'm not a guru, man.
Like right now, like how much, like what are you doing today? What does your business look like today?
Well, I've done something I hadn't done the entire time I've been in real estate, which is 17 years as of January of this year. Last year, I actually started hiring people that I go into an office every day. Now, I went ahead and got an office for myself, quote unquote, in a studio. It's just a small room, not much bigger than this one. Probably double this, size or whatever. I have my
like an executive suite.
Yeah, I have my flip man thing up that never comes down, and then just the office stuff, in between that or whatever. So I have two ladies that work with me. My nephew, which I basically just giving money to, and then I have a young lady in the Bahamas that does probably most of my grunt work because she has no accent, and she knows real estate. And she really was a VA for a lot of other people, and she just reached out to me one day out of the blue and said that she was just tired of making $400 or $200 a week, and she know they just made $30. And she feels like she really put the entire deal together. I said, you don't have to worry about that with me. I said, I'll give you half any deal that you work on.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and pay her, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I don't personally like to do it, you know what I'm saying? I do it because I like to eat, as you can tell, or whatever. So
they can't tell, the video's frozen.
The value that she has, it's I still give her a base, because you're gonna have your little dry spells or whatever, but it's only like a couple $100 a week, but that's a lot of money. It's was the money exchange in our market or whatever. So, but she's valuable, and working here with Kegel, I just read with the guys over there. We're trying to iron out some of the things because we're sending a lot of deals over there to them, and so she's going to filter out stuff now for me in the markets where they're not as popular or has a foothold on, because there still may be some opportunities there. Yeah. I hadn't told her yet, but that's what she's going to start doing.
There you
go. But that's what it looks like now. I focus a lot on still houses, but I target multifamily and self-storage. Those are two other types of properties that I target. So
a lot of people are talking about multifamily today.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people are talking about self-storage. A few people, wealthier individuals predominantly, is who are talking about self-storage.
Yeah.
Let's elaborate on that.
Well, I'm targeting the mom and pop stuff.
Okay.
Right. Anywhere from, we'll say, 50 units and really up, but normally 50 units or so, because normally you can get the decision maker on the phone.
Gotcha.
And in the surrounding areas of markets, maybe a little outside of a larger market, you'll see in some of the smaller communities, you'll still see self-storage or whatever. You can get in contact with them. So
what is your goal when you're working with self-storage?
I'm still wholesaling it.
Okay.
That's just me.
So you got a buyer in your pocket still.
Yeah. They're
Gotcha.
still wholesaling. Yeah.
So what is your target fee when you're doing self-storage?
It's profit.
Yeah.
Because the way I always looked at it, sometimes, I make a mistake on the numbers, but if I can still make money on it, and if it's a new buyer, say if I only make $2,500 versus $25,000, he just paid me $25,000 to be added. $2,500 to be added to my buyers list.
Right.
It's just the numbers didn't work out. That was my error. I won't make that mistake again.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's just a learning curve. So.
Right.
But because sometimes the units are small or whatever, but it's a unique cash flowing opportunity because you take a lot of the landlording out of it. You don't have to worry about plumbing, stopped up toilets, heating and air not working. Well, I guess that could be an issue depending if it's climate control, but you get what I'm saying. So you're just not dealing with the everyday tenant issues that you would with self-storage.
Not as many complaints.
Not as many, yeah.
So Lionel Young wants to know, if you were in Phoenix, I don't know if you want to come here first.
I'm here.
I'm talking about.
Like living here. Oh, competition. Okay, go ahead.
All right. So if you were trying to wholesale in Phoenix and you had a burner phone and you had $200, what would you do?
Well, now I'm stealing this from Jamil, even though I sort of preach it myself, but he sort of made it even more clear to me. I would probably target, and I'm gonna throw this tip out there. I showed a guy this yesterday, and I didn't check it, but I showed it to him because I don't know the number of Section 8 properties that are out here. I would go to this website, gosection8.com, put in Phoenix, Arizona. Right, and I don't know what the counties are out here, and I would start reaching out to landlords on single-family, multifamily also, but definitely single-family properties, because a lot of times on that particular website, right, you can actually talk to the owner versus a property manager or a what's the other word? A real estate agent, because sometimes they manage properties for owners, and you call them. All right, you still got the $200 in your pocket. You call them and you say, hey, is this property still available? Well, they say yes or no. I went through this yesterday on the other show. It doesn't matter. You say, well, hey, I didn't call about renting the property. Would you be interested in selling it? And whether he says yes or no on that, if he says no, then you say, do you have any other properties you would be interested in selling? Because sometimes that may not be the troubled property. Another property that he owns may be the troubled property. Okay. All right. So assuming he wants to sell one of multiple of his properties, what if he gives you a price that's not a wholesale price? Now, you have to remember these guys love cash flow in most cases, but they don't love the landlording side of it anymore.
Yeah.
Right. And so you may offer him some creative financing to take away the landlording side of it, but he can still receive cash flow from the property. And so once you get into the creative financing, owner financing, or depending if he has a mortgage or anything, all that'll vary. You get into subject to or lease options or just a straight owner finance deal. So that's what I would do. What was his name?
Lionel Young.
Lionel Young. That's what I would do, Lionel Young. So
Jamil just popped in, so he probably heard all that. Don't listen to that, Jamil. It won't work for you.
Yeah, it won't work for you, Jamil. Go away.
All right. Brandon Vega wants to know, what has been your greatest failure?
Wow. As far as real estate.
Yeah.
Man, so many. Well, the greatest failure is what I wasn't prepared for the 07, 08, 09 subprime lending fallout. I should have been prepared. I should have had because I don't have an extravagant lifestyle or whatever, but I was giving
when you were making money.
I was giving away a lot of money, and I don't want to tell you how, but I was giving away a lot of money or whatever. So, that's the biggest mistake. I should have just really got loaded, once that happened. Oh, and the second biggest mistake is that me being lazy and comfortable, however you want to title it. I've had so many deals that I've turned away that should have turned into some form of owner financing. Even if I did want to keep the property or some of the properties, I still could have wholesaled out the terms, either to an end user or an actual investor. So
Yep, there you go. Let's see what else is here. Got a lot of props, a lot of fans. Byron Stewart wants to know what's the best way for you to find buyers.
Man, dealing with after dealing with Jamil, he makes you feel like everything you knew before was is crap. But since I'm not Keegan, I'm just going to tell you. I'm just going to go through a few ways and you can pick out what you think is the best. Number one, the way I was taught and the way I teach it is, great deals or create a buyer's list. That I'm just going to start there and I'll go into a couple others. And what I mean by that is if you have a great deal, now some of it will depend on what part of town it's in, because you'll have some buyers that don't buy in certain parts, vice versa or whatever. But you can only sell that property to one individual. But if you have a property that 10, 20 people call you on and you literally get, we'll just say 14 offers, even though you may not have got offers from those other 19, you can only sell it to one person, right? So those other 19, you're going to keep their information for future deals, right? And so when I say their information, obviously their contact information, name, phone number. You want to know what other areas they like to buy in, the minimum number of bedrooms and bath, what price range they like to deal in, obviously, if I didn't say areas, and then how many they buy per month. Right. And, obviously you assume how fast they normally close. Or they're using hard money or they're using their own money. All right, so that's one way. Networking, which is what I've been lacked on. I'm trying to improve myself on that. Believe it or not, and I think I don't have the video. It'll be coming out. It's an update on PropStream, aka Dealulator, that we did with some of the guys over there, and they have a feature there where you can filter out properties that were sold for cash. Properties that there was a cash purchase, and then they listed it a few months later with an agent. Normally, that's going to be a flipper, right? And so they have a filter that I think is titled Flippers. And then if you did it as an MLS sale, sold through MLS, you can reach out to those real estate agents, right, and see what their cash buyers or buyer, what areas they like to buy in. That's another way that you can do it. Other wholesalers, right? You can obviously use those also. You want to definitely go to your RIA meetings. Some real meetings are better than others. I can just tell you that, are more active than others. I like to use bandit signs to attract buyers. What you can do is you can promote just we buy houses. I'm sorry, not we buy. House for sale, cheap, your phone number along with the website. And the website gives them an opportunity to go there to, number one, to see what properties you have available, but also you can put a form there where they can submit their contact information for a deal alert. So now you can have an email address along with a cell phone number, and you can blast out your deals through email and or text message, which text message is my preference. So,
Alex Blake wants to know: is there a best book or course to learn for creative financing?
I don't know if does Pace have a course out?
We have all been kicking his butt.
Yeah.
So I think we're a week or two away. Maybe he can chime in here, but I think he's like a week or two away.
Okay.
But I think he's been a week or two away for like
with him, just call him. He'll tell you. He'll give you a course over the phone. Just call him.
He would.
Yeah, just hit him up on Instagram, Pace Morby.
Yeah, so I would say definitely Pace will have the best course. So definitely be on the lookout for that, guys. We got Kathy R. says she's been a big fan of Flipman since 2009.
That sounds good. That's right, man. I was around.
Yeah.
I was around. Thanks, Kathy.
Yeah, and Paul says, glad to hear your story. Very smart everyman. So that's cool. So what else is there? So let's go back to a few different things right here. 1 second. So right now, you're getting deals. Like, what is your number one lead source today?
Text message.
Text.
Yeah.
All right. So talk about that. I mean, how do you track how many text messages you send a day?
We only, believe it or not, we only probably send out like 150 because the response is so. We have to be careful on the follow up or whatever, and maybe because I only have one person I trust with it. Yeah. That's part of my problem why we only do it. But it still like generates enough leads where she's on my butt about getting someone out there to at least go drive by the property or whatever and stuff. So that's number one. I still do Google AdWords, believe it or not, Steve.
That's good. I gave up on that in 2018.
Yeah, I still do Google AdWords, and
we're at $45 a click out here.
Really?
A click.
We're 20. I think it's probably like at 16.
Yeah, I'll do 16.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're at 45 a click.
Yeah.
Over 300 per appointment. And
a sale.
I think I don't know. When I gave up, I was like, this number's too much. We're not doing it.
Yeah.
And you gotta keep in mind, I have multiple ways to move it, right? I can wholesale it. I can buy it.
Yeah.
I can list it.
Yeah.
I have 3 exit strategies with it.
Yeah.
And none of those.
It's
still not worth it.
Still not worth it. Yeah. The only reason I'm keeping it around because I was close to giving up on it. The only reason I'm keeping it around is because I'm going to do some creative financing on this too.
Yeah, I think 23 a click, you should definitely.
Yeah. Now, let me just say this now. I also target multifamily that way also.
Yeah.
So
that's smart.
There's not a lot of people doing that, but I target the entire country though instead of just my market. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I target the entire country. Yeah.
What would you consider to be your superpower?
Wow. Really just, I don't think I'm better than anyone else. What I do, what I've done, I don't think no one else can't not do. I'm not the smartest, especially academically. I know that's not always a measurement of how smart you are. I guess maybe when I say I'm not better than anyone else, but what may separate me from some others is that I do know what my weaknesses are, right? But I'm not going to allow that to be an excuse on why I don't do something because there's just too much technology out here, man, as far as being able to technically do things or to get someone else to do something that you don't know how to do at a very cheap price. And so I understand that part of it as far as knowing what I am good at and knowing what I'm really bad at or whatever. Yeah. I try to stay away from that and just get help with it. So that's a superpower, just knowing, who and what I'm capable of.
Knowing your limits.
So, yeah.
And you can play your roles.
Yeah. You can be overconfident. I got some friends like that. So, yeah.
Reginald wants to know, triple net lease question. Do you still do it? Do you still do that?
Not as much as I should, Reginald. And it's one of my weaknesses is organization, and that takes a lot of organization and putting someone in place to pound out all of those calls to national tenants. And what he's talking about is finding a vacant retail spot. You may find an old, Burger King, but on the right side there's a McDonald's, on the left side there's a Wendy's, and across the street there's a Walgreens. And then you got 40,000 cars pass by traffic. That's an ideal spot for a triple net opportunity. So you tied up, right? You tied up.
The pad.
Yeah. Well, the location still may have a building there. And you get a commitment from a national tenant, maybe a Starbucks, on a 15-year lease, triple net. They pay the taxes, insurance, and mortgage. Taxes, insurance, and maintenance on the building. All right, once you have that LOI saying that they'll do that 15-year lease, you have something of value if you got that property at a decent price, right? We'll just say it's $700,000. But once you get that triple net lease, right, if you put it out there at 8 cap, you may be at $1.2 million. or whatever, and you'll have buyers all over the country that may be interested in that.
Yeah.
Sounds easy, but the hard part is getting that triple net tenant to commit.
I have no illusions.
In the time frame that's needed.
I have no illusions of that being easy. Triple net, commercial, it's tough.
Yeah.
Most of those people don't want to be bothered.
Yeah.
There you go. Let's see. Creative Control Media says he's having some problems here in South Jersey. Do you think potentially South Jersey could be a problem, could be difficult to wholesale in?
How big of a population are you dealing with? Are you considered part of suburban Philadelphia?
Yeah. All right. So we'll wait for him to answer that question. Lionel wants to know, what book have you read that you strongly recommend?
I'm not a reader. So I'm sorry. I'm not a reader.
Yeah. Bobby says that he will do video work for free. Bobby he'll do video work for free if he gets to hang out with you.
Where is he?
He's in Phoenix.
Oh, I'm just here till tomorrow.
Huh? Yeah. So
maybe he's talking to you.
No, he's talking to you for that ticket. That ticket we're giving away.
Oh, okay.
He says that if you can.
You'll do video for where we're going to the game tonight?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I guess you could be the winner.
Okay, there you go, Bobby Canode. I think it was called Bobby Q-Hand. I don't know what Jamil was calling him earlier. It was something interesting. So congratulations, Bobby. You're getting the ticket. You get to hang out with Jamil Pace and the Flipman tonight at the Clippers game. That's a hot ticket.
Oh yeah, that should be. Is Kawhi playing tonight?
I would imagine so. Man, I wish I could go. So we were talking about the books. What are you struggling with right now? I mean, you got lots of things popping for you. What are you struggling with? We're trying to iron out the kinks on this new thing with Keegley, where I'm referring individuals to send their deals through dealulated.com. Mm-hmm. Just trying to make sure people understand, what we're really looking for. And the hardest thing is just people understanding what is a good deal. Now it's going to be relative to your market, to your part of the market. Yeah. Whether it's in an A, B, C, D neighborhood and all the factors that go into it, understanding what the true ARV is, what are the repairs, and then the price that you and the seller have agreed upon, or whatever. And it needs to be off market. My definition of off market is that it's not advertised anywhere on the internet for sale. That is my definition of off market. So I think this is a great point, because I get this question a lot, about coaching. And, I can help someone find deals. I can help someone hire. I can help them close a deal. I can help them sell a deal, whatever. Mm-hmm. But the one thing I can't help people with is, how do you learn to comp a deal? Do you have anything for that?
Wow, I have videos on it. I've been.
I can just send them to that video.
Yeah, you can, but okay. See, the thing is, I can give you just some basic stuff.
Right, rules of thumb.
And a lot of times people are doing it outside of their market. Some things you just won't know unless you know the climate or the perception of certain neighborhoods. Yeah. Right? Okay, you may see on Zillow or even through PropStream or whatever service you're using, and the comps say within 3 blocks, 0.3 miles, that the houses are selling for $250. But you could have one main street that cuts through that 0.3.
8 Mile, for example.
Yeah, and the price is dropping half. Yeah. That's small stuff that is hard to get people to understand.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
So I've had a lot of people call, ironically from Jersey, mm-hmm. and they're like, it is so hard because it's literally street by street how much it can change in value. So they do well because everyone else is comping wrong and they know the real value. Yeah. But man, for someone new, that's...
Yeah, if someone new, that's tough.
That's tough.
Because we'll say all this stuff and they say, well, I did exactly what you said do.
It's really market specific.
Yeah.
All right. So Creative Control says, he's right by Philly. So 10 minutes from Philly.
Okay. All right. So you're good. Yeah. So you're basically in the Philadelphia market. If you're not comfortable with quote unquote South New Jersey, just focus on Philly. There's a lot of activity there. That's a huge market.
Yeah.
That's a huge market. The sky's the limit for you, my man.
All right, I love it. Michelle Sidney wants to know, do you think sub 2 is a good option for a first deal? By the way, we're back on video.
Okay, good. All right. Is it? Yeah, if you understand what you're doing, just like with any other form of it. It's paperwork involved, but there are going to be tons of options out there. And again, you can hit Pace up. And through Instagram, he'll be glad to share his knowledge with you. You just cut him in on the deal. That'll be worth it.
Yep.
Yes.
Perfect. All right. So I'm going to let you think about what thoughts you want to leave the listeners with.
Okay.
I'm going to make a couple quick announcements. So, guys, again, Max and I, we've got our event on April 17th and 19th. If you guys are interested, go to disruptors.com. We've had incredible feedback. It's a 2.5-day event. People have said they love the transparency, they love the amount of details, because we go really deep into our business. So if you're interested in doubling your business, check it out, disruptors.com, see if it makes sense for you. Next week, we got Chris Jefferson flying in, so that's going to be a whole lot of fun. And then, before I give it back to Flipman, I just want to, pay homage. You were giving the game, you were giving the game away for free, as far as I know, before anybody else. So props to you. You laid that groundwork for a lot of us to come up, right? So, just want to say thank you for doing that.
Yes, sir.
So, last thoughts.
I'd like to always talk to the newbies, people that are just learning about wholesaling or whatever. Yeah, it sounds good on the surface, and a lot of money can be made, and it can springboard you into pretty much any level of real estate that you want to get into because of the income that can be made from flipping to whatever. I personally think wholesaling is a better option because the return on investment dwarfs, aka, buy, fix, and flip, but money can be made with both. So number one, understand that it's not a get-rich-quick scheme. It is a get-rich-quick method. It is a get-rich method, not necessarily quick. And rich is defined in a lot of ways. $100,000 may be rich for someone. Oh, you can get rich quick in this business then if that's your goal or whatever. But understand that if you educate yourself, there's a lot of free information out there from me to Steve to Max to Brent to whoever, to Pace to Jamil. If you educate yourself, you've just increased your chances of succeeding in this business tremendously. But the work still needs to be put in. And it takes a large degree of patience. Now understand that if you're in a smaller market, when I say a smaller market, probably under 75,000 people, right, then you're going to probably have to do some virtual wholesaling. All right, now there's still opportunities out there through me, definitely through Keegley, to Pace in this group, to I guess Steve or whoever. If you reach out, and the way that I would do it is reach out to landlords in those markets. You can use sites like GoSection8.com, which they're not as strong in some markets versus others, and reach out to landlords. Try to get the actual owner on the phone if you can bypass property managers and or real estate agents that are managing the properties for them. That's going to probably be the quickest way to find a deal, because from my experience, all the marketing dollars I've spent and methods, the largest group of people that are going to be motivated to sell a piece of real estate cheap are going to be tired landlords. And you can just be proactive in reaching out to them before they get to that point that they just call a real estate agent or call someone else's We Buy Houses signs or respond to a postcard or whatever. Just be proactive, because it's timing, So if you call enough of them, the timing will fall in place for you.
Exactly. You got to do the activities.
Yes.
Someone wants to get a hold of you. How do they do that?
I'm all over the place, but on Instagram, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Ask Flipman. On YouTube, just go there and just do Flipman. I'll pop up. And if you want to join my wholesaling real estate with the Flip Man Facebook group, just go there and just request a sign in, and you can get in there. It's over 50,000 people in that group right now, the date of this video, and people in there to help each other. I'm in there more than I've been recently. I try to go in there at least every morning to maybe answer a few questions or whatever. So boom, there you go.
So much. Awesome. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate it. It was a lot of fun.
Yes, sir.
Thank you guys for watching. Sorry about the video, but it'll be fixed on YouTube. You guys watch it later.
Yeah, see, we real estate disruptors.